This is the Daily Roundup on the EAC Cambodia channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Andrew Barnes-Roberts. Making headlines tonight. It's all systems go along the border with Thailand as provinces prepare for an influx of migrant workers later this week. An extremely rare summer flooding event hits Venice just as the UN's climate panel warns that the next 10 years will be critical for climate change. And London Bridge isn't falling down, it's Tower Bridge that's not coming down. 2 days before the end of the border closure, provinces bordering Thailand are preparing for a massive influx of returning migrant workers. Ban Tie has added more quarantine facilities for workers stranded on the Thai side of the border. At the same time, Tabongkamum and Prey Veng's quarantine centres have been inspected to ensure there's enough equipment and capacity. EAC News reporter Reo Soko has the latest.
Ban Tie Governor Ratre has announced that the province has added 2 more locations as quarantine centres for returning migrant workers. This is in preparation for when border closures are due to end at midnight on Thursday. The governor says the 2 new quarantine facilities can accommodate around 3,000 people each. Ban Tie currently has 20 quarantine facilities and 15 treatment centers for COVID-19 patients. Meanwhile, the Minister of Social Affairs, Veterans and Youth Rehabilitation, Bong South, has carried out an inspection of quarantine centers in Prey Veng and Tabongkamum. The 2 provinces continue to receive a large number of migrant workers. Prime Minister Hun Sen announced last week that returning migrant workers will need to quarantine for at least 7 days at the border before being allowed to quarantine in their home provinces. Any migrant workers testing positive for COVID-19 will need to remain at the border, except those with only mild cases who will be allowed to receive home treatment. The transportation of all migrant workers, whether for quarantine in their home provinces or treatment at their own places of residence, will be handled by the military. Rhea Soko, EAC News. Deputy Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Interministerial Commission on Combating COVID-19, Lieutenant General Hon Manet, has visited the 2 new quarantine centers in Ban Tie 2 days before the end of the border closure. The 2 additional facilities, which can each accommodate 3,000 people, are located at Seray Suporn City and Mongkol Borei District. Manet has urged the provincial leaders as well as the construction teams to expedite the building process as quickly as possible to be ready for the quarantine and treatment of COVID-19 patients. Ban Tie Governor Ratre says they are ready to receive returning Cambodian workers. He has added that these new quarantine facilities will be in addition to the current 19 quarantine centers and 15 treatment centers in the province. The governor also said that they have been working with the Thai authorities to provide help for the stranded workers unable to cross due to the border closure. They have been provided with temporary accommodation and meals.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has appealed for patience when it comes to the rollout of booster shots. He stressed on Monday that those already fully vaccinated with AstraZeneca are not being prioritized for a 3rd shot of the same vaccine. He says the only people being given a 3rd booster shot now are frontline workers who have been fully inoculated with either Sinovac or Sinopharm. The Prime Minister says frontline workers who are stationed along the border with Thailand are his top priority. He says these personnel include medical doctors, the military, police, and healthcare workers who run the risk of exposure to the Delta variant. He also added that veterans and athletes who will compete in the SEA Games are part of the priority group. The Prime Minister says that for now, Cambodia simply doesn't have enough supply of AstraZeneca for a mass rollout of booster shots, but there's certainly time to acquire them. The Ministry of Health said on Monday that booster shots of AstraZeneca should only be administered at least 6 months after the first dose of either Sinovac or Sinopharm, meaning that if you received your first dose back in May, it'll be November before you qualify. The rollout of booster shots for frontline personnel is already underway, though in 7 provinces. It'll begin in Phnom Penh on Thursday. With the need to continue expanding the availability of rapid test kits across the country, the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has announced that it's to import rapid test kits from China at just $2 apiece. That's a full $1.70 cheaper than the previous kits imported from South Korea. At the same time, the Ministry of Health has announced no home treatment for those who become infected with the Delta variant. EAC News reporter Reo Soko.
The Health Ministry says home treatment is not an option for Delta cases due to the potential severity of the illness and the increased chances of community transmission. Home treatment will be allowed to continue for mild or asymptomatic cases of the Alpha variant. Minister of Health Dr. Mam Bunheng says that authorities in the capital and provinces have been ordered to ensure all COVID-19 patients with the Delta variant should be sent to COVID-19 medical centers or other hospitals designated to treat COVID-19 patients. Regarding the new test kits, the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has announced that while the new Chinese test kits are almost half the price as the South Korean ones, their accuracy and reliability are the same. Minister Chia Vandet says officials have already placed an order with China and that there will be no additional charges above the $2 fee. The Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has emphasized that Prime Minister Hun Sen had ordered the import of cheaper test kits so that the private sector can conduct more frequent rapid testing for staff in order to better contain any possible outbreaks of COVID-19, especially the Delta and Delta Plus variants. Rhea Soko, EAC News.
The number of COVID-19 recoveries reported on Tuesday is almost twice the number of new cases. The Ministry of Health has announced 882 recoveries overnight. That is 383 more than the new 499 cases. Cambodia's total number of COVID-19 cases now stands at 82,898, while the recovered patients in total is 77,037. The number of deaths has also dropped, with 17 reported on Tuesday. They take the total number of COVID-19 related deaths in the kingdom to 1,602. Although COVID-19 continues to claim lives in the country, the trend of cases is showing positive signs. Tuesday is the 11th straight day that Cambodia has recorded more recoveries than new cases. On to news making international headlines now, and reaction is pouring in to the latest report by the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. The IPCC says climate change is upon us and that the next decade will be critical if we are to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius. More than that, and the world faces catastrophic consequences with more frequent fires, floods, droughts, and extinctions. For residents of Venice, there's been more signs of climate change this week. Extremely rare summer flooding. The famous St. Mark's Square was flooded twice over the weekend. This so-called acqua alta is usually seen in autumn and winter, but not at the height of summer. On Sunday evening, water levels rose to above a meter, although tourists and locals made the most of it, alarming as it is. Venice's floods are caused by a combination of factors which are only exacerbated by climate change, from rising sea levels and unusually high tides to land subsidence that has pushed down the city's ground level. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis has apologized for failures in tackling this month's devastating wildfires. He's approved a supplemental budget of over $500 million to fund the relief effort and pay compensation to those who have lost homes and other property. Firefighters on the ground and in the air continue to battle wildfires on the island of Evia. Strong winds are fueling flare-ups, while water-bombing aircraft are struggling due to the sheer volume of smoke. In the past week, more than 580 fires have started, coming just as Greeks suffer the country's worst heat wave in over 30 years. And Britain's Prince Andrew has been sued by a woman who claims she was forced to have sex with him on 3 separate occasions, all arranged by the late financier, convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. In the civil complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in Manhattan, Virginia Giuffre accuses the prince of abusing her about 2 decades ago when she was just 17. The prince's office has made no comment, but he did tell the BBC back in 2019 that he had no recollection of meeting her. She has said that Epstein kept her as a sex slave for years. Her complaint accuses Prince Andrew of battery and intentional infliction of emotional distress. It seeks unspecified damages. Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in a Manhattan jail cell in August 2019 while awaiting trial on sex trafficking charges. Prince Andrew, who is also the Duke of York, has since stepped back as a senior working member of Britain's royal family. Stay with us here on the Daily Roundup. After the break, a look at your sports news. EAC News fully supports the royal government of Cambodia's preventative and administrative measures against COVID-19. But we need you to play your part in helping bring the 20 February community transmission event to an end. Wash your hands regularly, sanitize wherever possible. Keep an eye on your body temperature. Use the Stop COVID QR code and maintain a safe social distance. But above all, please, 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 wear a mask. Only together can we beat COVID-19. EART's Cambodia's audience is growing. Our YouTube channel now has 150,000 verified subscribers. To mark the milestone, we've received the Silver Creator Award from YouTube, given to channels with over 100,000 subscribers. YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki says the award celebrates EART's Cambodia's hard work and incredible achievement. She says not only has EART's Cambodia brought a unique voice and style to the world, but has also created valuable connections and built a community along the way. The next milestone we're going for is 1 million subscribers, and we'd really like that Gold Creator Award. So if you're not already a subscriber, head to www.youtube.com/eartscambodia. Subscribers get all the latest breaking news and updates from Cambodia in English. We'll see you there. If it's happening and you need to know about it, you'll get it all right here. EAC News brings you updates and breaking news in English across all of EART's Cambodia's platforms and channels: YouTube, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, and our website www.eartscambodia.com. Join me, Andrew Barnes-Roberts, and the rest of the EAC News team every day on your favorite channels. EAC News, Cambodia made clear. Football fans in Paris have come down with a serious case of Messi madness. For 2 days straight, fans have camped outside the Parc des Princes Stadium, the home of Paris Saint-Germain. Lionel Messi is rumoured to be joining the club after his tearful departure from Barcelona. But we stress the word rumoured. According to French media, Messi is expected to touch down at Le Bourget Airport in Paris sometime on Tuesday, and that he's on the verge of signing a deal. It's those reports that are whipping up the fans. But nothing has been confirmed just yet. The last time Messi mentioned Paris Saint-Germain was on Sunday, when he said only that it was a possibility. There's also been no further comment from the club itself. If he is moving to the Paris outfit, it'll have been the worst-kept secret in football. There's little surprise the fans are so keen, though. PSG has yet to win a Champions League title, and they believe Messi could be the key. Former champion Andy Murray is back in the main draw of the US Open. He takes the place of Stan Wawrinka, who's recovering from foot surgery. Murray didn't make the initial draw for Flushing Meadows. He's only played a handful of ATP Tour events this year, having missed the Australian Open because of a positive COVID-19 test and opting out of the French Open. He'll be hoping for a reversal of fortunes in New York later this month. The 34-year-old reached the third round at Wimbledon and then withdrew from the men's singles tournament at the Tokyo Olympics on the advice of his medical team. That dashed hopes for a third consecutive gold medal. He did represent Britain in the men's doubles in Tokyo, but lost in the quarterfinals. At last year's US Open, Murray suffered a straight sets loss in the second round. The 2021 US Open runs from the 30th of August to the 12th of September. With the Tokyo 2020 Olympics having closed, Olympic athletes have been returning to heroes' welcomes around the world. Britain's Olympians were greeted by overjoyed relatives and supporters at Heathrow Airport. British track cyclists Jason Kenny and Laura Kenny led the team through the arrivals gate to loud cheers, but the warmest welcome was saved for the boxing team. Gold medalist in the men's flyweight boxing, Galal Yafai, was lifted into the air. Fellow boxing medalists Lauren Price and Fraser Clark were also warmly welcomed home. Britain's chef de mission, Mark England, has hailed the team's achievement as the greatest in their Olympic history. Team GB matched their medals total from their home games in London in 2012. They finished fourth on the medals table at Tokyo with 22 gold, 21 silver, and 22 bronze medals. There were similar scenes in Russia, although not at the airport, but on Red Square. They were driven through the streets of Moscow for an official celebration ceremony. Russian athletes bagged a total of 71 medals, including 21 gold, to finish fifth on the medals table. They've now had 2 Olympics where they've not been able to compete under their flag or with their anthem following the doping scandal back in 2012. The Russian Olympic Committee will be back as plain old Russia at Paris 2024. And Italian sprinter Lamont Marcel Jacobs was also home to a hero's welcome in Rome, returning with his 2 gold medals and the accolade of world's fastest man. He delivered probably the biggest shock of the Games, winning the 100 meters. He's the first ever Italian to win the 100-meter sprint, racing to victory with a new European record time of 9.8 seconds. He was also part of the winning 4x100-meter relay team for a stunning sprint double. That helped Italy to its biggest ever medals haul at a Summer Olympics. All right, let's take a look at what the weather's up to for your Wednesday. And finally, it's one of the most famous bridges in the world. Tower Bridge in London opens and closes to allow ships to pass through it and is then supposed to close to allow traffic to go across it. But not since Monday afternoon. For the second time in as many years, Tower Bridge is stuck. A technical fault has left it sitting open, great for river traffic, not so much for road traffic, with hour-long tailbacks of cars and gridlock on both sides of the River Thames. The City of London says it's working to resolve the problem as soon as possible, but that might be only later on Tuesday, with a similar problem last August taking just over 24 hours to resolve. Since 1976, the bridge's two arms, or bascules as they're called, have been operated by electric engines, which replaced the original steam-powered ones that dated back to the 1800s. Thanks for watching the Daily Roundup here on the EARTS Cambodia channel. You'll get more breaking news and updates from our website. Head to www.e-artscambodia.com. You can also search for EAC News app at your favorite app store, as well as on Telegram. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8. I'll see you then.